NBA. Um, Perhaps there's a note of sarcasm in there. Perhaps not. I'll leave that to you to figure it out. But nonetheless, the NBA is back, and this is paying homage to Mark Scalata, or was it Scott who said that we should chat for a minute or two before we actually get into it. So
yeah, I think that's good advice in general, especially because we started and go right to it. But I can just say what I did. I went to the gym today and got a full body scan about everything in my health and everything. had a female trainer completely kick my ass, but it was good. It was good. I was shocked at some of the numbers and everything were much better than I had hoped for. So I'm just now trying to move my arms again though, because this Marine woman who's gonna meet with once a week just sort of kicked my ass.
Well, hopefully are your arms too tired to click on Keon Johnson tonight?
That's the real question, right?
You have to say.
I don't think they're that tired. I also think that there's like an over projection happening here. I look, I'm gonna end up playing Keon Johnson like in probably most of my lineups. I don't think that's really much of a question. But it is kind of weird because there's a lot of speculative stuff with Portland. I honestly don't know what they're doing. I'd like to throw a big FU out to them because what are you saying? Like, I don't understand this. This is the first game after the All-Star break. You're announcing your guys are out with rest when you're right in the thick of a playoff race. So you're basically giving up on the season.
Oh, for me, I think it's worse. I think, and I know that. Well, you know,
hey, go for it, Cheats. Go for it.
You're going to disagree with me on this, whatever. But
maybe not.
Maybe I'm just old or something like that. Dude, if you're going to freaking be healthy enough to shoot the freaking 3-point contest and play in the freaking game, I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be
100%.
Oh, you're with me on this one. Okay.
No, yeah. I mean, what they did is a big, this is disgusting. And if you're going to do that earlier in the season. It's a big FU to anybody. And like, why did they do what they did? Like, I don't understand what their plan is. Like, I don't know. I just really don't get it. And we're going to have to play these guys.
However, what this is really good for
is late swapping.
Forget that. It's extreme optimal for the 11 p.m. sweat show.
Oh my God, it really is. Except for that our games are just going to have started. We don't even know what's going to be happening yet. Some of our guys don't even have checked in the game yet.
11 p.m. is now the hour after it starts.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll be halftime of the game where everybody has 100% ownership. So this is going to be you either going to have a sweat or you can at least pretend you do, like in this game. You know what I mean? So, and it is definitely one that you can late swap. So I just ran a. First of all, let me just do a couple of updates, a couple of service announcements, whatever you call those. So the MMA DFS thing went up yesterday. The betting thing is going up tomorrow. As you guys have noticed, I've done a few more kind of like off the cuff live things, and I'm going to continue to do those just to kind of spread out these sports, which that's kind of keeps my sanity. I'm going to try to do some NASCAR stuff again. I'm going to, just be on the lookout for all kinds of funky stuff. Even though, the NBA is back, and that's obviously the main sport. But one other bit of a cool announcement is that the NHL, the DraftKings, even though they didn't keep the NHL slate like it was last night, it seems that they're permanently up the prize pools here. It's like now $25,000 for first for the main MME and $20K for the bigger one. And it used to only do that like once every month, and now they're doing it pretty much every day. So that's the other thing. Hopefully after tonight's site meeting, we'll have some more announcements with upgrades and things like that. But overall, glad. One other thing, just if you haven't gotten on the Stake Kings yet, get in there. And I'm still trying every day to figure out the best way to make that, more fun for people. So any input you have on that, cool. And I guess that's pretty much it. What do you? I mean, I'll just tell you right now. I'm looking at my sheets right now. I have like the top, 9 of the top 10 values are like from that Portland game, and then I still have Taylor Horton Tucker, obviously, and it's gonna be tough to fade those. But here's someone saying that Embiid is missing shoot around. but probable to play. Huh?
Well, I don't know what to do with that information, to be honest with you.
You just play him, I think. I mean,
I'm playing Embiid anyway, like, and that's where I'm at. So I don't really have like a whole lot of other things to add there. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm not gonna speculate. If we find out it's a 7:30 game, it's a nationally televised game. It's not the same situation as the Portland thing. I'm really like just so confused at what's happening. Like the Portland thing really threw me off when I really liked my early lineups. I really felt good about them, and I feel very strange trying to adjust to this slate. And I don't know what else to say to people other than, yeah, you're delaying. You're going to play the later games, and they were already good plays anyway. You had the Utah guys are good plays, especially on FanDuel. You have the Portland guys already looked good, and now you take away every normal player for them. And then if you wanted to talk yourself into a game stack of that game, I think you could sort of force your way in with some of the Sacramento guys and just hope it stays close. It probably won't, but I like to build like that. So you could take a four-man Portland stack and run it back with Fox or Sabonis or something. I think it's a very viable thing to do. And then you combine that with the Utah and OKC stuff, and really all of a sudden the slate doesn't start till way later. The one thing I am going to do earlier, I would prioritize your spend ups, like Embiid, I think is a priority for me. The other priority spend ups are, I don't have anybody I feel like I really feel excited to play except for Embiid. I think Jokic is fine. I mean, it's a tough matchup, but it's fine. I actually think I think Luka's like the best, like he's median going to get there. But like, is San Antonio really going to be able to at least stay in this game? That's a tough one. I mean, they've lost 14 in a row, and most of these are not even close. Can you talk yourself into a LeBron or a Anthony Davis? Sure. You're going to have plenty of money to spend. So your second spend up, what I'm preferring to do is playing one of the guys, preferably Embiid for me, and then mixing in using my other spend up, not spending all the way up, but using Sabonis and for the Portland guys or something like that. I think that Anthony Davis is going to be the lowest owned. I think that's kind of intriguing. Lauri Markkanen, I mentioned already in that game, I like as a spend up. I think De'Aaron Fox, no one will play him. And I think if you ran him back as opposed to Sabonis, you might get a little bit unusual there. And I mentioned earlier, like, I don't like this price on Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown, but I think both those guys, it wouldn't surprise me if they're both in the top 5 of overall, fantasy points tonight. And I think I would be willing to take that gamble at the slight discount from the other guys. Those are the things that I'm looking at.
Just to piggyback off of something that Brandon is saying, and Brandon Cruz is in the Discord here, related to kind of like the off the cuff live stuff. Something that I really want to stress, and you hear this like everybody that puts out a YouTube video, they say make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff, and 99% of the reason they do that is because if they have like enough subscribers, like they move to the top of like the algorithm and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess from a business perspective, that's kind of important, I suppose. But what I'm telling you to make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's specifically because like if I like want to go on like at an unscheduled time, if I kind of feel like it, then you guys can get quote unquote notified. You know what I mean? That and the only way that happens is if you do sign up, get notified, which means subscribe and turn notifications on or something like that. So it's not just like the thing you hear like all the time. Like, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Okay, great. But also you really want to get notified, and not to say that, oh my God, if you're out to dinner with your family, say, oh my God, Sheets is going live to sweat LCS. I better come home and freaking sweat that, or anything like that. But it is kind of cool to when I just kind of feel like just going on there. And these live things, I like really enjoy doing the play-by-play. I really like. You should have heard the other day. I was like kind of like live giving play-by-play of like a freaking League of Legends thing. Like I knew what I was talking about, right? But I'm getting there, But imagine that we could do this if like it's kind of tough on a Sunday though, Brandon. But like on Sunday, even if like we're if it's like the last like 15 laps or something like that of the NASCAR race. Just pull up the lineups and see what we need or whatever. It's impossible at Daytona because it doesn't even matter what happens in the first 99.99% of the race. But like if you have like an actual race where you're piling up the dominator points and you have an idea of what you need, like just to come on live at the last second is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So listen, I'm probably going to end up, and I haven't built since I did my and I'll do it online here, but I know what I'm going to be getting. You know, I'm going to be getting all the Portlands. I'm going to be getting all the Utahs, and what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is that I'm going to be just like hopelessly, just insanely overweight on Shaden Sharp. Okay, that's going to be if there's a guy that I'm have 100% of, that's going to be the guy. Okay, I'll have 100% of him before I have 100% of Keon Johnson. That's going to be my.
This Keon Johnson thing is completely I just want to throw a few things out there real quick. The Keon Johnson thing is completely speculative. We have no idea that he'll actually start. Everybody, so we're getting questions about Ryan Arcidiacono. If there's anybody you shouldn't be playing unless he's starting, it's Ryan Arcidiacono. Like, just because the team still has 11 players. It's not like they don't have, this is not an 8-man thing. You know what I mean? And they have a million guards. They've got
Speaking of that, who is
Keon Johnson doesn't need to start. Cam Reddish doesn't need to start. Matisse Thybulle may not start. Shaden Sharp may not start. All of those guys legitimately may not start. 3 of them probably will. I don't know.
Who is Jabari Walker?
Jabari Walker, I believe, is Samaki Walker's son, who used to play in the NBA. He's been getting some minutes, but we're just completely speculating. This is just a wild guess. Is all this is. The only one, like you said, like as you touched on, Shaden Sharp, and I would say now Cam Reddish feels a little safer to me. The guy who's not projecting well is probably the guy who's my favorite for GPPs. I think Kevin Knox might be the play here.
Ooh, okay.
So they went out and they make the trades to get Reddish and Knox. Now you're getting your whole team sitting down. Isn't this the time you let Knox play? Instead, we're going to speculate on guys who haven't played any minutes. Why would we do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's my take.
So this is since you guys asked, let's have some fun. I'm gonna pull up my screen, and I'm just gonna build with SaberSim and just see what I get, and then I'm definitely gonna make some tweaks. Okay, so let's pull this up here. And oh, by the way, how cool is it to have that really nice and consistent Denny McCarthy in your lineups? That's like really.
You know what is cool is the guy who I turned almost 20% of was your Pearson Coody. And he's in my 555 too.
Oh my God, let's go.
My first two guys, the first two guys I had to play were I had Pearson Coody who ended 400 and Tyler Duncan who was 6,500 ended it at 3 under. And I did it with the spend up stack. So now I just need all the good players to actually do well, and I'm in great shape.
I was right, by the way. I'm telling you, that guy cannot make a freaking putt. Sanjay in.
I know. He should probably be like 8 under.
Yeah.
He probably should be 8 under.
All right, so let's see what this looks like. I am presuming. See, this is. I think this is a cool one to do from SaberSim because I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to end up probably getting like a bunch percent of guys I don't want to play. So which is cool. So let's look at this. Kobe 4L probably has it right, but let's just see.
I think he is pretty close to being right. What I would just say is Shaden Sharp is probably going to start when Lillard was going to start. I think he's the least likely to start of all those guys.
Yeah.
Sharp. And I think it means absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
With the other guys, it means maybe everything.
Here's one thing I can do. Okay, so this is something I don't usually mess with this, but you look at a process, and the first thing I kind of look at is this first lineup I'm getting is both Harden and Embiid, and I don't like to play the two of those guys together, you know, and SaberSim claims that they kind of factor all that in. But that doesn't mean that I'm kind of forced to do everything that they do. So what I'll probably do, since I know I'm getting lineups with both Harden and Embiid, what I'll either do is this. First, I could pull those up pretty easily, actually. Like if I pull up, let's see how many there are. Now here are all the Embiid lineups, and then here are all the Embiid and Harden lineups. So I'm actually getting like 1 out of 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's like way too much. So what I'll probably do then, I'll go back in And again, I don't do this too often, but I'll go back in and I will just literally make a rule then. If it's really going to insist on like doing this to me, I'm just gonna make a rule, and I'm gonna go group, and we're gonna put in max one of those guys. So where is it? So Harden, and then Embiid. We're gonna put max no more than one primary player. We'll save the rule, and then we could just go ahead and just rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't usually do this because usually Saberson does a good job, but I'll tell you, every once in a while, Bobby, is that you'll see like AD and LeBron together. And although you can make cases every once in a while that he'll get there, it's just in general not a great idea.
Well, I'm going to point out why I don't think it's as bad tonight.
Okay.
Because I think this is a little bit different. Because I think you have a ton of great spend ups. Not one of them is in a position we'd actually be trying to play them unless we had a ton of value, you know?
Right.
Luka, huge blowout risk, also hasn't put up more than 64 with Irving. Jokic, worst possible matchup, basically. Embiid, I love. I'm in on Embiid, so this is where I end up with Embiid, Harden being okay. Tatum, it's fine. Probably, I wouldn't do it myself. I would rather not. Ja Morant, I like it a little bit as a run back if I'm playing Embiid, but I just can't quite get there. I do like Davis and LeBron each in different ways. I think both of those guys are viable. I like Shea a lot, who's going to get low ownership. But then Kyrie, Siakam, this is on DraftKings. I'm not all that interested in either of those guys. I do like Sabonis. And then I get to Harden. So actually Harden is kind of becomes like my fourth favorite spend up point per dollar. And I don't think he ever really kills you here. You also factor in the pace up matchup against Memphis. I think this is actually a spot where I wouldn't like, if I was making 150 tonight, I would be totally fine with 10 of those lineups being Embiid.
Okay. Which
I would not usually be.
So maybe I'll backtrack those and play a couple of them. Maybe I will do that. The other thing I will say is that if I have like an ownership spread out like this, and again, this is just what I choose to do. First of all, what's cool about it is that all this stuff is late, so I can always change my mind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like I said, like if things aren't going my way, I literally have no problem Xing out Keon Johnson at the end and replace him with the Jabari Walker or some stupid thing. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem with that.
It's great to see. I mean, honestly, I just think you have to know who's starting too. Like,
right.
But the weird part is whoever does start, they're not going to be playing. Like the current projected lineup as Shaedon Sharpe coming off the bench, which basically means that one of Thibault, Reddish, Keon Johnson still don't close.
Right.
And my bet is that potentially two of those guys could not close, and you might see Kevin Knox. And it's not even closing because let's say closing the first half because this game could blow out. I would encourage, instead of Jabari Walker, I understand taking a swing there, but I don't want to dig so far into the bench. I want to see who's starting before I make some decisions. And at least I can buy into the narrative with Kevin Knox, who's 22 years old, who was a number, 6 or 7 overall pick a couple of years ago. Maybe this is the time you give him a chance. That's the one that makes the most sense to me. So he's the one I'd be willing to gamble on. And so much so that I would actually say that even if Keon Johnson's starting and he's not, if I have any lineups that are, need something to get a little different later on, I'll just make that switch. I have no problem with making that kind of a move. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm a little, the Nasir Little thing I should probably touch on. This is a little tricky. I don't think this is as obvious as everyone's making it out to be. And even Kobe, what he said, I think your priority should be Sharpe and Reddish, and then you figure out the other guys. And Little is one of them. But I don't feel like, especially like, if we're going to say that Matisse Thybulle doesn't score enough fantasy points and he's so bad point per minute, what the hell do we think about Nasir Little? Like, the guy scored 20 fantasy points. We've seen him play 30 minutes. He scored 20 fantasy points one time, and it was 20 exactly in 49 games that he's played, more than that, 50 something games that he's played. He scored 20 fantasy points once. And yeah, it's a different situation for them, but they're not going to be running their offense through Nasir Little. So I think the sweet spot is to try to get 3 Blazers. I'm fine if you want to use Little. I don't think he's a significantly better play than Thybulle. We just hear Thybulle's name more, so people don't want to play him. Thybulle's already had 2 games that, or already had 1 game with Portland out of 2 games. that it's better than any game we've seen from Nasir Little, who's had this opportunity a ton this season. Not to mention Watford could end up playing the 4 for part of the game, and I bet you he does. So could Jabari Walker, and so could Kevin Knox. So I don't think it's as safe as you think. I think we want to try and get the priorities: Shaden Sharp, Cam Reddish, and then the other. I want to see who's starting before I decide who that is.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If Keon Johnson is starting at 3K, I mean that's probably.
Yeah, but why can't Kevin Knox outscore him off the bench and get the minutes?
It's true.
Whoever's playing well, you know.
That is true.
So, I mean, what if Keon Johnson is not starting? By the way, like, who are you playing? You say who's ever starting, but it'll be Sharp. What if Sharp starts with Reddish and Thibault?
Listen, the cool thing is that all of this is tweakable the whole night, you know? And I think that what we're really supposed to do is see how you're doing and then see who's starting, right? Like if you have like a lock freaking optimal like in your pocket and you know Keon Johnson is starting, I'll be more than happy to play him. You know what I mean? Like but if not, you know, then you just have to do other stuff. That's all.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm playing. It looks as though I'm going to get like 60% Embiid. He's my main spend up, and then what's his name after? Then Luka after that, like 50%.
Yep.
That's that. And then I'm gonna, you know, then I have some like just like it's so funny. I always get like just random spread out like guys in like some of these early games. Like I got like 5% Evan Mobley, you know, like 4% Jared Allen, you know, like just a couple.
I like those guys too.
Yeah, Wendell Carter, you know what I mean? Like they're early, so it's it's not ideal, but you know, whatever. I mean, hey, one of these guys puts up a number, you want them, right?
But those are the kind of guys I think you can play early. Anybody like above 6K, you know, you don't want to use the value early. That's the real thing. Unless
right. That's a good point. Well, can you play? But can you play? What's his name early though? Killian Hayes.
So that's a really good question, Sheets. Like I think that what happens is his ownership just goes completely down, and I maybe you know what my answer is yes. I think that you can. I think you have no ownership now in a game with two of the worst defensive teams in like recent basketball history, and everybody in that game is in play. But I wouldn't be trying to like play Wiseman or something. But Killian Hayes has a role of being the team's point guard. Now, if Killian Hayes is not starting today and they're bringing him off the bench and doing something weird, like they've done that a few times, then I wouldn't play him, like obviously. But I do think he's a strong play. I also think that it's worth noting that Jaden Ivey is a very reasonable play also. Like both those guys are very, very reasonable to me. I just wouldn't like other slates if it was a later game or something, like maybe you take a chance on a guy like Burks or Diallo, but there's just no reason to do those kind of plays on this slate when you've got all this value later that we don't know how it's going to shake out. But trying to dumpster dive and go for these other I do think like build me a narrative and I'll buy into it. Okay. Like, but otherwise I'm going to need to see the guy starting. Like I can build a narrative around Kevin Knox very easily. I can't build as a narrative around Ryan Arcidiacono unless he's starting. You
know, the point you made though is that it's not as though Portland has 8 players.
Right. They have 11.
They have 11 players. So, you know, there is. I mean, I think there's a real chance that Keon Johnson starts and ends up playing like 14 minutes. I mean, like
100%. That's right on the table, Sheets. I totally agree.
You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's different situations, but like another guy who just has never put up 20 fantasy points, maybe once in his career, I think he's done that.
Keon Johnson?
These other guys are as interesting. What's that?
Who, Keon Johnson?
Yeah.
No, he's put up a plenty. He's got 1.5, 3.5.
But even
even when he's gotten minutes, he hasn't really put up anything.
What's that?
He has a projection that's higher than any fantasy points he scored the whole season.
And I'll do you one better. He's got a projection higher than any fantasy points he scored in his career.
Yeah, I mean,
even worse.
Yeah, that is even worse, isn't it?
Do you know who sneaky though is a good play in that game, and no one's going to play? Drew Eubanks. Or Trendon Watford. Like these guys are at least basketball. Like they're part of the rotation, and they're going to have to play. You know, one of these guys will be on the court at all times minimum, and maybe together. My guess is they play at least like 8 minutes together. So I think they're both kind of interesting, and they're the ones that are the easily forgotten, and maybe they shouldn't be, because there's a reasonable chance you end up seeing both of them out there together. The thing the truth is though, like what's going to happen is two guys are going to like 10x from Portland tonight. That we know is going to happen, just because there's not enough fantasy points for them all to get 15 or 20. You know.
Yes.
But why are we trying to find like the extra weird? I just don't need to do that. And if there is going to be one, it's going to be Kevin Knox for me. And I know this is the thing. Oh, look, K9 Bronco, right with the question. Any Drew Eubanks love on FanDuel? Yeah, I think Drew Eubanks is totally viable. Right there. I just said it. Yeah, I mean that was exactly that. That's the play I can get on board. And especially if you're going to play Sabonis or Fox, which I think Sabonis on FanDuel especially stands out. I like the idea. Like, if you're going to play if you really want to play Keon Johnson, Cam Reddish, Shaedon Sharpe all together, which I think you totally can, and maybe Nas Little would be your fourth, then you run it back with Sabonis, who will have some ownership, but nobody's going to play De'Aaron Fox. Nobody.
No.
And if that game is close, like nobody's playing defense, I don't know. It's worth thinking about.
That's a tough price though.
It is. It's a little bit more feasible on FanDuel because the build kind of works okay, but you're right. It's a tough price. And I'm gonna have to go in a minute because I still have Damian Lillard in like 10 lineups.
Yeah, I got all the Damian Lillard out. You'll see what I'm doing. By the way, I'm building my hockeys now, and you'll see this is, for those who've been watching me do this. This is the same thing I end up doing every day with freaking these SaberSim lineups. Is I get so many of these kind of non-traditional stacks which I just don't want. I end up just kind of Xing them out, which is what I've just done just now. And you'll see I'm getting look at this. So some good low-owned stuff. Seattle, Pittsburgh, Tampa, stuff like that. So so I don't know what I'm going to do in my big one. I almost promise you in the NBA that my big one is not going to be the same at 9 as it is at 7.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I think that's the
I'll be in Discord, and I'm happy to say what mine will be all night. This is a good example already of a slate that's going to change when Portland's lineup comes out in a way that no one expects, which is totally possible. And by the way, every team that's true for after the All-Star break, except for the Lakers, Cavs, and Magic, who already announced what they were doing.
Yeah, that's so weird that the Lakers literally announced their starting lineup like days ago.
And by the way, those guys, but what's cool about this though, like if you wanted to get like a speculative and I don't know, like try to play one of Vanderbilt or Beasley at 0 ownership, those guys could easily get there. Like absolutely, they could easily get there.
Yeah. I think I have to be pure here, Bobby. I think in my big buy-in, I think I have to just play what's his name, Sabonis with a bunch of Portlands.
That's what I'm going to do on my big buy-in on FanDuel. I'm going to probably do that. Right now, it's my big buy-in on DraftKings, but I have like Jeremy Grant who's out, so we can't do that.
It's so funny. I didn't even realize that. I guess I should have realized that.
Clay Dave is asking, would you exit out stack in NBA?
Not today.
Like don't stack. What does that mean?
Oh, do you mean? Oh, is he saying not play like too many of one team or something?
I think that is what he's saying. But
I'll play 5 Portlands if I have to.
You play 5 Portlands, no problem. I have to say though, if I play 5 Portlands, there will be a king on the other side.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Sheets, I'm gonna leave this up for you while you're watching is that League of Legends? Is that what that looks like? Yes,
this is Team Liquid's about to close them out, and this was one of the 4 teams I played. So this is good.
You know what scares me about this stuff is not that I won't get into it or I'm not into it. It scares me to get into it because the way I feel about golf now as a 41-year-old man who can't hit a golf ball, I'm like a little kid. By the way, have you watched that show yet?
No, I've heard it's so good too.
It's so good, man.
I've heard it's so good.
If you don't love Joel Dahman, Bad Hat Joel Dahman after that.
Oh, the Bad Hat. I heard he's like the MVP of that show pretty much.
He wins everything. And every other golfer's talking about if this just happened, He goes, I have no business being out here. Like
that's so funny. Oh, what are they like?
The other guys go, it's a big week for you, huh? They're like, you're playing in the tournament too. He's like,
that's so funny.
He doesn't even register it. All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. Sheets, I'll leave it up for you.
We're just gonna sweat this and then we're gonna get out of here because I have to figure out what I want to do in my big bind. Also, although like I said, I don't really need to figure it out yet. But I do need to figure out what my spend up aside from Sabonis is going to be, right? Because
Embiid is mine.
Well, yeah, but you know what? If you play Embiid and Sabonis, then you have no utility flexibility.
Except for that Sabonis is in the last game, so you can always shift and shape if you want to.
Right.
If I was going to say that, I have to say, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I do think that both Lakers, both LeBron and AD are in play. I think you might see like a Lakers trying to prove a point kind of a game, which just feels like it could be a LeBron or AD thing. So I'm probably going to trickle those guys into my lineups a little bit. All right. Good luck, everybody. I'm leaving it on, but Sheets, you can end it whenever.
Yeah, so, no problem. No problem. Guys. So yeah, as you guys see, Team Liquid is just crushing here. I just got to see how much I have it. I have a decent amount of it, but I don't know how much of I have it in the as the 4-stack or in the captain, because that's where you're going to need it. Yeah, I got some. Yeah, I got some. Let me just see. Game stacks, team stacks, 4-man stacks. Yeah, I got some. I have to just see exactly what we do here. Now I'm going to be in first place in a couple of things because I had probably the first 2 winners, but there's a whole bunch of guys left. All right, let's see. Any questions here? Yeah, LOL is a tremendous sport. You know what? I can't play CSGO. Not my state. You know, it's funny. I had what's his name? I had Will Patterson from SaberSim give me a whole freaking dissertation on how to play CSGO. For everybody else, CSGO and I can't play. It's not legal in New York. So much for that. Can't do a lot of things. You can't play college football. Can't do the college basketball. Can't do XFL. It's probably best. I got enough sports going on. Okay, I guess I am gonna get out of here, right? I'm just gonna finish this lineup here. Again, I'm playing Sabonis, but I'm gonna put him in the later game. I mean, I'll put him in the utility so that I could change him. And this is nothing earth-shattering. Taylor Horton Tucker, play him too. And for now, I mean, like I've told everybody I'm playing, you know. I'm going to start probably with Keon Johnson. Who's point guard? Who do I use at point guard, actually? That's interesting. I could actually play Shaedon Sharpe at point guard, which is probably what I want to do. Because I could play then Taylor Horton Tucker at shooting guard if I want. So let's play Taylor Horton Tucker at shooting guard. And then we'll play Sharpe point guard. I mean, this is what it's going to look like, guys. I mean, it's going to look something like this. I mean, I can't give you the whole thing, but it's something like this. Yeah, so Sharpe, Reddish, probably one other Portland guy who I don't know who that's going to be yet. We'll put in Little just for fun, just so we have something. You can even play one other guy here. Could you get away with playing? No, you can't quite get away with playing Shea in this build. That would be cool if you could do it. That would be pretty awesome, actually, if you can get away with that. Let me just see what my projections look like here for a second. Keon Johnson. So forget about all this. Oh, I could play Wofford if I wanted to. Luka Embiid, Jokic, Sabonis. Well, I'd love to somehow make Shea work. But then I can't play Embiid. Am I going to talk myself into this? I probably am, right? Who am I kidding? So I'll talk myself out of Embiid and into Sabonis. Is that the story? I mean, how awful is that? I don't know. We might find out, though. And then you could also play Jordan Clarkson. So we get a little bit of a Utah stack, too. And then is there any good forward to play? So now I'm only playing 3 Portlands, but that's fine. If there's a $6,000 forward, I mean, you can play Markelle Fultz, but I don't need to do that. So this is kind of an interesting thing I got going on here. I mean, again, I didn't finish it yet. So what I'd like to do is play the Portlands with the Sacramentos, and then get this Shea with the two Utahs. Grant's out. Yeah, I'd like to play Jeremy Grant, but he's out. Oh, I know who I'm going to play. Is this going to work? Hold on. Any chance that Clarkson is a forward? No, but oh God, is Taylor Horton Tucker? Can he be a forward? Yes, he is. Oh goodness! All right, this is what's going to happen. I'll give you a quick look at it after I do it. Oh, good grief! Clarkson, Tucker. Oh goodness. Horton Tucker. And I'll give you a flash of what it is after it's done. But this is exactly the deal. We're going to put this unknown person here. Then we're going to put Sabonis in the utility. And we've got action at 9:00. So what we're going to do, I just literally can't show you, is I'm playing guys from Utah, and I'm running it back with somebody from Oklahoma City. And I'm playing guys from Portland and running it back with someone from Sacramento. And that is going in right now. Oh, let's go. All right. Good luck, me. There it is right there. Yeah, hopefully we can live in through the other games. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, but I got to go. 11:00, I will be live sweating. I don't know what we're sweating, but it's going to be something. Good luck, everybody.